This is Hero Factory Zeta Team, a team created for the sole purpose of protecting Hero Factory and Makahiro City as a response to the breakout and brain attack. Their secondary purpose is to interact with the civilian population of Makahiro City, to give the public confidence that Hero Factory can keep them safe after the breakout and brain attack made the general population not so sure. And while Zeta Team succeeded in restoring public confidence in the Hero Factory, it also had an unintended consequence of making villainy more extreme and driving it underground. And we will start off with the leader, Tyler Ajax. Tyler Ajax is a former member of Delta Team, originally working under Lucas Valor. However, due to constantly butting heads with Valor, he sought a transfer to another team, right when Hero Factory was developing Zeta Team. And he soon proved himself to be a calm, collected, and capable leader. Ajax takes his role as a public protector very seriously, and as a result, he will treat violence as a last resort. However, if the situation calls for it, he is very capable in a fight, and will even fight dirty to resolve a situation as quickly as possible. But anyway, onto the figure. This actually does use a pair of knockoff G2 eyes that are dark red. I feel like they fit into the color scheme better than LEGO's official orangish red eyes. I'm pretty happy with this shield design. It's a pretty simple design that people have been using for a while, but I wouldn't put this mace have on top so we can kind of use it as a bashing weapon. He has a sword. Nothing too special about it, I just think it's a cool looking sword. And he has a shoulder cannon, which has two primary settings. It has a stun shot that can incapacitate enemies, as well as a kind of corrosive goo that can rust enemies' joints, stopping them from fighting or fleeing. And that's it for Ajax. And here is Matthew Tank. Tank is a former member of Beta Team. After participating in a mission gone bad, Tank immediately sought a transfer to Zeta Team in the hopes that it would be a lot less stressful. While Tank was initially supposed to be the leader of Zeta Team, he immediately surrendered control to Ajax due to not wanting the responsibility of running a team. However, Tank is probably the most bold member of Zeta Team and will often be the first to put himself into danger to protect his teammates or civilians. Now onto the figure. I definitely wanted him to be my team's big guy, and I gave him what I believe to be the ultimate big guy weapon, a functioning minigun that I'm trying to demonstrate, but I don't want to lose these studs, so I really like the way these shoulders turned out with the Liwa Master Masks and these 3.0 big chunky armor pieces. Definitely makes him look like he deserves the name Tank. I'm also pretty happy with the way the legs turned out. I think they just have the right amount of bulk, and I really like the way this Stormer helmet turned out. I think that just adds a very nice touch to this, because it's a fairly bulky looking helmet, and the visor just kind of, I think, pulls it all together. But yeah, I guess that's it for Tank. Next up is Calvin Blaze. Calvin Blaze was one out of two heroes to be the first generation of Zeta Team rookies. Blaze is a very kind and outgoing hero, often patrolling streets just to have friendly conversations with civilians. However, his very kind and calm demeanor has gotten him in trouble a few times. He doesn't take villains very seriously and will often underestimate them, resulting in villains escaping, collateral damage, and even personal injury. But even with his faults, he is still the most popular member of Zeta Team with the Makahiro public. And now onto the figure. Blaze is an incredibly simple figure, so I'm not going to go too in-depth, but I do want to point out the flamethrower, which I think turned out pretty good. It's a fairly simple design, and I'm pretty happy that he's able to actually hold it. I also really like the way the colors came together, especially with that Akar mask. The color scheme uses some very bright and warm colors, and I really like the way the gold turned out. It gives a little bit of a metallic flare without darkening the color scheme. But yeah, I guess that's it for Blaze. Next up, we have Allison Shade. Allison Shade was built alongside Calvin Blaze, but unlike Calvin Blaze, who enjoyed his role on Zeta Team, Shade absolutely resented it. She was furious that instead of going out and exploring the galaxy, she would be stuck at Makahiro City protecting civilians. She initially tried being as rude and hostile to civilians as possible in hopes of getting kicked out of Zeta Team. Although she eventually relented and now enjoys her place on Zeta Team. Although she still doesn't like interacting with civilians. Now onto the figure. I'm pretty happy with the colors on this thing. I think they turned out nice, and I really like this modified Breeze 2.0 headgear. I think it gives her a pretty distinct look. I knew I wanted a sniper on this team, and I think this design worked out pretty well, even though it's a little too long for standard arms, so she has longer arms to kind of compensate for that, but it's not really that noticeable. I gave her a jetpack to allow her to reach high sniping vantage points that I think just turned out really cool looking, and it definitely makes this character look more distinct. I really like the way the transparent blue turned out, gives her a nice dark color scheme, which I think again works well for a sniper because she's not supposed to be seen. And the armor actually has cloaking technology, which when it's activated looks like this. Yeah, I think this turned out really good. It definitely looks invisible. Can't see it at all. But all joking aside, that is it for Shade. And here we have Troy Cross. Cross is a current rookie member of Zeta Team. While Cross is a very skilled marksman and hand-to-hand combatant, he has an ego that exceeds his skill. Cross firmly believes that he is the greatest hero that Hero Factory has ever made, and the only reason he doesn't have wide recognition is because Hero Factory never gave him an opportunity to prove himself. But he at least has enough skill to somewhat justify that ego. And now onto the figure. Of course, the most striking thing about this model is the Green Inferno helmet, which is a knockoff piece that I got forever ago, and this is the first time I actually used it. The weapons are breakout blasters with blades attached, effectively giving them the ability to double as melee weapons and blasters. I also went and attached a bunch of spikes to the figure, which I think looks pretty good and gives him a fairly unique looking silhouette. I'm also pretty happy with the color scheme. With this backstory I came up with, I definitely wanted a very bright character, and I think the green and yellow accomplishes that pretty good. And the gunmetal kind of allows for a kind of serious edge, but yeah, I guess that's it for Cross. And finally, we have Nicole Wolfe. Like Cross, Wolfe is a current rookie member of Zeta Team. Unlike Cross, however, Wolfe is very secluded and a very private individual. She will often opt out of social events in favor of staying at the Hero Factory and working research and development. She is fairly insecure, although what she lacks in self-confidence she more than makes up for in intellect, being one of the smartest heroes to graduate in the Hero Factory Academy. And Zeta Team primarily utilizes her for both field repairs and hacking. And before we get to Wolfe herself, there's a piece of equipment that I want to show off first. She has a remote-controlled drone that I actually based off of real-life bomb disposal drones, and it's just a coincidence that I grabbed a picture of a tan one. But anyway, onto the drone itself. I think this thing's a cool little build because one of my primary goals with Wolfe in particular was to use up as much tan as I could, because that's just not a color that I can really utilize that well. And the hero core is just there for branding. It's not an actual functioning core. This thing isn't alive, this thing isn't sentient, it's just a remote controlled drone. But anyway, on to Wolfe herself. Her weapon is a stun blaster, which I think turned out pretty well. I like this tube, and I think the whole weapon itself looks pretty bulky, and it definitely looks like it could do some damage. And like I said with the drone, the colors were a big motivating factor in me designing this character the way I did. Tan and dark red are not very common CCBS colors, but they go very good together, as well as the silver, which I really like. And I really like the way the chest turned out with the red on the silver, and I like this helmet. I think it kind of conveys kind of an engineer-like personality. I also really like this antenna, which I think really just kind of helps to enforce the idea that this character is supposed to be the tech-savvy engineer of the group. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for Wolfe and her drone. And yeah, that's gonna be it for this Zeta team video. So if you enjoyed, make sure you leave a like and comment down below, because that will help promote this video in YouTube's algorithm. And if you haven't already, subscribe, because of course with a team of heroes, I'm gonna need to show off the villains that they're fighting. Well, until next time, take care.